What's up, Girl Scouts? I am here in beautiful Wind Cave National Park right now, and it does look like I'm in the darkness of a cave, but believe it or not, let me turn the camera up. This national park consists of a whole lot more than just Wind Cave. In fact, there are 30,000 acres of mixed grass native prairie and a little bit of ponderosa forest that you can see over there. And I'm out here today because I'm on a prairie dog town. You can see the burrows. And prairie dogs are, of course, the number one and pretty much exclusive prey source of the endangered black-footed ferret. So when we're looking for black-footed ferrets, we must be looking on a prairie dog town. They are almost never found off of these prairie dog towns.
And the reason that I'm out here in the middle of the night is that ferrets are very nocturnal. You almost never see them in the daylight. And if we are going to find these guys and do monitoring and management on them, then we have to pull all-nighters looking for them with these spotlights. And sometimes we're on foot. Other times we get lucky and get a truck with a spotlight mount. The weather certainly doesn't always cooperate. Sometimes it gets foggy, sometimes it rains, and it even snowed on me in Wind Cave. That was a pretty cold night, but it's worth it when you get to see black-footed ferrets.
So it's really difficult for the general public to see these guys, for anybody to see these guys really, because they are so exclusively nocturnal. And what I am doing now is looking for their eye shine. This is the most cost-effective way, the most reliable way that biologists have to find black-footed ferrets in the wild. When we catch eye shine, it's not always a black-footed ferret. There's a lot of animals out here on prairie dog towns. There are, of course, a lot of bison here at Wind Cave. They have kind of the same green eye shine, but they are a little bit higher off of the ground. There's pronghorn, which have the same color eye shine, that emerald green, and coyotes. There's badgers, and we just saw a bobcat last night. They both have kind of more of a yellow eye shine, as does the swift fox, which isn't really found here in Wind Cave, but is found in other parts of the Dakotas. But yeah, what we are looking for is that emerald green eye shine. Oh, less than a foot off the ground. Usually it'll be coming from one of these burrows. Let's cross our fingers that we can find a black-footed ferret tonight.
And just like that, we have found our first ferret of the night. And you can see here just how bright its eye shine is. Sometimes when you're spotlighting and you haven't seen anything for a long time, you start to see eye shine in things like moths going in front of the spotlight or a bright piece of grass. One time I even thought that a star on the horizon was ferret eye shine. When you do see it, it's pretty unmistakable, but you get very desperate to find one because look how cool it is when you do find one. It's a really special feeling to put your eyes on an endangered species for the first time. So what we'll do now is we will set this ferret-shaped trap and wait.
Okay, so we have got our first captured ferret of the night. Wow, that is an incredibly blurry video. Let's get a little bit closer. It is not even midnight yet, and we have trapped our first ferret of the night. Now let's look inside. See the goods? What a cutie. Let's focus here. What a cutie pie.
A feisty one here.
So what we have here is a male ferret, and I have a suspicion that it is a kit from this year because back in September when they did the first round of surveys here, they caught an adult female, the mom here, and they saw it with a second ferret that was uncaptured. And because this one's a male right in the same spot, it's probably that uncaptured male kit. which means that he needs both a microchip so that we can ID him later on, and his first round of plague vaccine so that he doesn't contract the Black Death and die, and also his canine distemper vaccine. But first what we have to do is confirm that by checking for a chip. My reader here doesn't go through the metal cage very well, so what we're going to do is transfer him to this plastic tube, which can be kind of a delicate process. Just let's show you guys. He is a cutie, isn't he? Hi there. We'll let him stay in there so that he feels a little more safe. Wrong way. Stay in there, buddy. We might cut this part because I'm flailing. Okay. And now we've got a ferret in a tube. So now we're going to scan him for microchip in case I'm wrong and it's not a male kit that is unchipped. So we've got your scanner. And we're looking for a little chip. Some of you might have dogs that have chips. It's just an identification. And why we do microchips inside their bodies instead of like an ear tag is that ferrets are pretty rough on themselves and ear tags tend to get pulled out when they're underground eating prairie dogs and such. So the microchip is the best way to make sure that it stays ID'd so that we don't give it too many vaccines or something like that. I'm not picking up a chip for this guy, which means that he probably is that unchipped male kit. But what we'll do is we'll take him to the vet and they will confirm. They'll knock him out with anesthesia, but they'll confirm that he's unchipped by scanning him directly right between his shoulder blades, which is where a chip would be. So let's get this guy to the vet.
The next step is to get our ferret out of the low-tech plastic tube and into the high-tech chamber where it will be pumped with isoflurane and in about 2 minutes be fast asleep. It's important that the ferret is knocked out so that it doesn't feel pain while we poke and prod it.
In his toe to make sure that he's not going to feel it.
We like to say that it must be a strange experience for a ferret to be abducted by humans for reasons beyond its own comprehension. But without this part of the management, we wouldn't be able to vaccinate the ferrets against plague and distemper, which represent two major threats facing ferrets in the wild today. While the ferret is still passed out, we'll take measurements on it, like its weight here, as well as body length and maybe hair samples or blood samples or whatever is needed by current research projects. Once we have all the data we need, we'll put the ferret back into this cage and give it a lot of time to recover before we release it back to the same burrow that we caught it in.
All right, time for releasing our ferret.
The release is definitely one of the most fulfilling parts of the job. Seeing these guys go back into their home. Knowing that we did our part to help protect it from disease is really, really special. Even more so when you think about how this species was not once but twice declared extinct. And yet here we are today, getting the privilege of watching them in the wild. It sounds kind of cheesy, but when you hold a ferret in your hands, it's almost like you're holding hope itself.